visited the campus of Calvin College for a debate. One of those 6, Senator John McCain of Arizona, spent several hours in Holland to meet with some people on the campus of Hope. So now, after nearly a century of the Hope-Calvin basketball rivalry, we finally know the answer to what it would take to distract basketball fans the week of the big game. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Holland Civic Center. Along with Steve Lloyd-Jones, I'm Tom Cleary. Welcome to our MIAA basketball broadcast here on West Michigan Public Television, WGVU Channel 35. And you know, Steve, since Kevin Vandestreek took over as the coach at Calvin, he has not won a game here in Holland. For Hope to keep it that way today, they're going to have to get some performances from guys playing a little bit bigger than their program size.
Yeah, really, the main man for them right now is Ryan Klingler. Very good guard, forward, whatever they really need at that point. But he is a tremendous player, leading scorer and rebounder. If they can get some good play from him, Mark Bray and Beldman, they'll be in good shape.
Well, during this series, players often grow as they go along, and certainly that's the case. When you take a look at Calvin, some of their best players haven't done all that well at the beginning. I'm thinking of Aaron Winkle, who was the top player in this conference last year, had a miserable game at Van Andel Arena 3 seasons ago. He's not likely to repeat that performance here today.
No, absolutely not. He comes in fact, today with a streak of 25 straight double-digit scoring days. He'll be joined by Veenstra as well up front. This team can score. Brian Fultese in the backcourt, a youngster. So they've got a lot of weapons besides Winkle.
Well, Mark Bray is certainly a valued performer for Hope College. And on the Calvin side, a newcomer worth keeping an eye on, Jeremy Veenstra, the freshman from Kalamazoo. It's Hope and Calvin coming up next here on Channel 35.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
Program support is made possible in part by Grand Oldsmobile. It matters not if you're a Flying Dutchman from Hope or a Calvin Knight. Both are welcome for either sales or service at Grand Oldsmobile, located on West 28th Street in Grandville. You deserve a company with the financial strength to be there when you need it most. Mass Mutual's Michigan Vanderveen Agency has served West Michigan since 1914. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, helps you keep your promises.
The campus of, actually not the campus, but at the Holland Civic Center for this game today. I'm thinking about the Dow Center, where sometimes these teams have had ball games in the past. But, Steve, an electric atmosphere once again. And first thing you think about when you come into this arena is the fact that it's a pretty small place. It's a little bit crowded. But this game today is going to have a big impact on the MIAA conference race, with Calvin currently looking like maybe the team to beat.
Yeah, they really do. In fact, last year, of course, Calvin and Hope splitting the title in the MIAA. Calvin coming in, Tom, with a very impressive road record, 5-1 overall, 11-2 overall in the season. So Hope at 7-6, 2-1 within the conference. Very pivotal game early on here.
We have talked about the fact that Hope is struggling a little bit right now at 7-6 so far this season. But I can recall last year, Calvin really put a whooping on Hope at Calvin. They came over here. Hope got it done and was able to forge a tie in the conference race and ultimately win a share of the title. Records really can be thrown out on this one because Hope figures that it has as big a home court advantage as anybody can ask for in this series when they play here in these rather cozy confines.
Yeah, they really have. Both teams, even though the series is split right down the middle, 71 apiece, the home court advantage has definitely come into play for both of these clubs.
We've heard the public address announcer, Jeff Pett, who we'll be going to in just a couple of seconds, make several announcements today, imploring people to scooch in, move in. Let's get everybody in here, get everybody seated, and I don't see too many open seats right now. We are about ready to go here at the Holland Civic Center for the game today, battle number 143 between Hope and Calvin. And let's go down to the public address announcer right now, Jeff Pett.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Holland Civic Center in today's MIAA contest between the Knights of Calvin College and your Hope College Flying Dutchmen. These teams have played each other 142 times in the last millennium, and the series is all even, with each winning 71 games. This game begins the new rivalry in the new millennium. Let's meet today's starting lineups. For Calvin College, starting at a forward, a 6'6" senior from Lake City, Michigan, number 14, Aaron Winkle. For Hope College, starting at a forward, a 6'4" junior from Jenison, number 22, Craig Beldman. At the other forward for Calvin, a 6'6" freshman from Kalamazoo, number 34, Jeremy Veenstra. At the other forward for Hope College, it's a 6'1" junior from Holland, Michigan, number 34, Brian Klingler. Starting at center for Calvin College, a 6'8" junior from Grand Rapids, number 40, Brian Crochelle. And inside for Hope College, a 6'5" junior from Hudsonville, Michigan, number 50, Kyle Moss. Starting at a guard for Calvin College, a 5'11" sophomore from Gladstone, Michigan, number 12, John Potvin. And at a guard for Hope College, a 6'3" freshman from right here in Holland, Michigan, number 40, Chad Carlson. At the other guard for Calvin, a 6'2" senior from Zeeland, Michigan, number 24, Nate Karsten. And for Hope, a 6'1" senior from Plymouth, Michigan, number 24, Mark Bray. The Knights are coached by Kevin Vandestreek, assisted by Tim Van Dyke and Chris Spear. The Flying Dutchmen are coached by Glenn Van Weeren, assisted by Tom Davalar and Matt Neal. Officials for this afternoon's game are John Creek, Walter Strong, and Wallace Whitfield.
All right, we're set to go. The officials for this one today, Walter Strong, Wallace Whitfield, and John Creek, veterans of this conference. Kevin Vandestreek looks pretty cool under pressure right now. Glenn Van Weeren missed the pregame handshake at center court. And Kevin Vandestreek in front of us just kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, oh, okay, we'll get by without one, and we'll see if we can maybe do it afterwards. But it should be a very good ball game here today. We talked about the fact, Steve, that Hope appears to be a little bit undersized. There was a question of the fitness of Kyle Moss. He's been struggling with a shoulder problem. He is in the starting lineup, but my guess is he's not 100% for this one, and we'll have to keep an eye on him early on.
Yeah, that's really a problem for Hope, Tom, because coming into the game, they were going to have trouble with that inside game of Calvin with Veenstra and Crochelle and others. So you're right. We'll have to keep a very close eye on that today and see how it develops.
We want to pick out a player for Calvin that we want to watch and monitor his progress. It might be the man in the middle, Brian Crochelle. I thought last year Crochelle was the most influential player in the court in game one at Calvin, but he sort of disappeared in the game here at the Civic Center. If he can come up big, it'll be a big boost to the Calvin chances here today. Walter Strong steps in. Crochelle has the tip, but it bounces instead to Klingler for the first possession for Hope College. Here is Mark Bray with the basketball. He's guarded by Potvin. Potvin takes over for Mike Gottfredson, who transferred after his second season at Calvin. On the floor, Veldman. Klingler for a three. And Hope College has the early lead on the triple by Ryan Klingler, the junior from Holland.
Right away, the good help side defense by Calvin leaves Hope open for the three.
Winkle's pass knocked out of bounds by Klingler underneath the basket. And Aaron Winkle getting a reminder early on that this is a very crowded place. The court obviously a little bit shorter, 4 feet. And I know some people think it doesn't make a difference, but after watching many games here, you can't sell that one to me. Potvin on the move, had it flipped away, but instead it comes to Crochelle. And now Winkle will try to tie it and does. A couple of threes. Both teams hit their first shot. And 45 seconds in, it's 3-3.
Super skip at that time by Crochelle. An excellent passing big man. That time right over top of the defense.
That's very important in this building too, Steve, because people can pack it in with those zone defenses, and these kids are a lot bigger than you think if you're not accustomed to watching Division III basketball. There's the first misfire by Veldman. A rebound to Nate Karsten, a veteran of the series, finally moving up to the starting lineup this year. Nice little bump by Crochelle, but getting a hand on it was Moss knocking it out of bounds. It's a tried and true strategy that Glenn Van Weeren uses here. He'll try to pack it in and make teams beat him from the outside. They'll lob inside Veenstra, kind of a soft pass, but there's Veenstra with those strong hands behind the stripe as Karsten can't get it. And this one is tipped out, I believe, by Klingler. Yes, says the official over there. That was Walter Strong who made the call. And Calvin, with 1:20 gone, tries to take the lead. The ball tipped again, but Potvin comes up with it. Winkle's gotten away with a couple of bad passes. They skip it again to Winkle. Puts it on the floor. To the glass. And a rebound going to Kyle Moss. And here's Bray. Bray's been a big scorer. Cut off nicely by Potvin. Veldman now. Klingler has the baseline. Forces it up and gets it over two bigger opponents for his second basket to put Hope on top, 5-3.
Wow, and he's the leading scorer for them and leading rebounder, coming out aggressively. He's off to a very good start for Hope.
Kind of a poor man's Charles Barkley here at the Division III level is Ryan Klingler, former football player, played college football, and then transferred to Hope College. Here's Veenstra. Thought about it. Potvin, same idea. Decided the better of it. Clock at 12. Winkle going against the freshman Carlson. Nice defense. Winkle forced that one before he had to, and it's pretty much an air ball. Tipped away and controlled by Hope. It's Moss.
And look at Moss inside, Tom, already showing his presence with some good rebounding and positioning underneath.
Interesting matchup with Winkle guarding Klingler. We didn't think they'd get that matchup, and now standing on the end line, I believe that was Bray who tried to go by there, and Bray sticks his hand up, and I think he wants, well, I don't know. I thought he was calling for a rest. Calvin with the basketball with a chance to tie. Been a little bit slow going here after both teams hit triples to start. Potvin. Rochelle skipped out. Oh, nice play there by Bray to come up with the basketball. Tries to go down. I thought he carried the ball maybe, but
what a great dribble
no
move.
Call. Klingler. No good, but an easy putback for Craig Belvin.
Tom, Hope is off to a sharp start right now. Everybody flying to the basketball, very aggressive.
Passing the ball much better. Karsten tried to get a tip on that miss by Winkle. And here comes Hope again. It's Bray. Into the lane. Soft on the shot. Controlled off glass. Boy, Hope doing a great job, and then a foul on Bray. Going over the top. He banged into Crochelle, but Matt Neal, the assistant, and Glenn Van Weeren both up. And now Hope will substitute. We'll take a break right here. 2.5 minutes into this one, actually 3.5 minutes in. 7-3 our score. Hope leading Calvin.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
I'm a chief executive officer.
I'm the CEO.
Presidente. Chief, the top dog.
I'm the big honcho.
C.
Welcome to my kingdom.
I'm the queso grande.
I'm the big cheese.
Huge. I'm the big kahuna. I am the queen of hardware.
At Huntington, our business bankers treat you like you have unique goals.
I'm going after a new market. Mrs. Fix-It.
Because you do.
I love the fact that everything lights up.
When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
That's something you don't see every day in college basketball. A coach taking a timeout before the first scheduled TV timeout at the first dead ball after the 16-minute mark. But Kevin Vandestreek, Steve saw something he didn't like and he wanted to correct it right away.
Well, he's seen the rebounding right now, Tom. Calvin leading the MIAA, 3 of the top 6 rebounders. And Hope, as you saw in that last possession down there, dominating the offensive glass.
Calvin really frustrated by the lack of operating room on offense right now. It just doesn't seem to be any space out there at all. Karsten, now Potvin. Hope has made a couple of substitutions. We'll get to those. Chad Zagers in the game, and here's Veenstra's first shot. Boy, they told us he had a textbook jumper, and he certainly does. He hits that one. It is 7-5 in favor of the home side.
Jeremy averaging over 15 points a game. Tom, one of the better-looking freshmen that you and I were talking before that Calvin's seen in quite a while.
They tell us he has great fundamentals. He'll be in need of those today. Klingler outside got a good pick, and his three spins out. Hope tries to save it, cannot do so, and now a chance to run. Here comes Karsten on the move. Looking to spot up his Potvin. Leans inside and hits it from 12 to tie it at 7. It's a big shot for Potvin. He's going to probably have some opportunities today. And that's something that Calvin didn't do especially well here last year, is get production from the backcourt. This is Chad Zager, sophomore from Mattawan. Nice pass to the cutter inside. Good defense by Crochelle to cut off Belbin. And now the shot hit by Zager with the left hand to put his team on top by 2.
There's no hesitancy at all offensively. Confidence in every phase of the game. It's really showing through for Hope at this point.
I think that's the familiarity with the surroundings as Winkle tries to get inside, puts his shoulder down, and hits over the top of Carlson. Winkle took some time, let traffic clear, and he is on the board for the second time. He has 5. Kevin Vandestreek at the other end wanting traveling on Veldman, but instead we will get the call from Wallace Whitfield. And I think he called Crochelle. Actually, not Crochelle. It's against Jeremy Veenstra. Greg Veldman has 2, his first free throw attempt of the ball game, and now Calvin getting ready to make a substitute. Another outstanding freshman coming in with a couple of other people. Nate Burgess is in there. He's played a lot in this series. Brian Foltis from Tri-Unity Christian getting his first taste of Calvin Hope, and also moving into the ball game now for Calvin is Josh Tubergen. And he played high school basketball here at Holland Christian. So there's a guy who's used to this floor. He's seen some time here as Veldman hits a couple. 11-9 Hope.
You know, Tom, a lot has been made of the offensive firepower that Calvin has. They like to score over 85 points a game. But right now you can see Hope being the aggressor, especially in transition. They're going for some easy baskets if they can get them.
Calvin's got to find some space offensively in the half-court game. They haven't done so far. Now here's Burgess with an easy one from the baseline, and he pours it down. That's big for a guy like Burgess to come into the ball game, the junior from South Christian, and hit his first shot.
You can start to see some of the depth that Calvin can throw at you, and we'll see how that develops tonight as well.
Tim Hogewin's in there right now for Hope. The three-point shot goes for Kyle Vanderwall. The shooting, for the most part, has been pretty good in this ball game early on, and now a foul down in the deep post area. Hope playing on the lead. Tubergen was fouled. It'll be a common foul against Hope.
I'll tell you what, Kyle Vanderwall can really heat it up in a hurry. Fun one to watch.
Well, we talked about the fact that last year Calvin won the first game rather handily, but then was defeated in the second. Veenstra really doing great work. Had a shot blocked and stayed right with it, and then took it to the basket with authority. There are some guys that get into this game, Steve, and look like freshmen, and Veenstra doesn't seem to have too many worries out there. He's playing like a veteran.
Sometimes it's physically they look like a freshman, but a lot of times it's the mental side of things, the lack of aggression maybe, the hesitancy. You don't see that out of this guy. He's coming in as the second leading scorer on this club, over 15 points a game, and he's got over 8 rebounds as well, so he really asserts himself in there.
And the name Veenstra is akin to poison if you're a Hope fan, because Mark Veenstra was the great MIAA player during the 70s at Calvin, during a time when Calvin beat Hope 21 games in a row. Young Jeremy is related to Mark, and this is a great break for Hope right here. They had a lot of difficulty breaking the press, and the official made the call. Walter Strong called a common foul on Karsten there. Otherwise, we might have had a 10-second violation.
Well, exactly, and I think Calvin kind of bailed Hope out there. Hope was a bit surprised to even see that, and they were lucky to get away with that.
Karsten not real happy with the call. It's kind of sort of a borderline touch along the sideline. But Strong made the call, and Hope has the basketball and a 2-point lead at 14-12. 13:45 left in the first half at the Holland Civic Center. Glad to have you with us today on WGBU Public Television for West Michigan. I'm Tom Cleary along with Steve Lloyd-Jones and the rest of our staff, and Calvin trying to climb back in. Nearly a turnover. Shot clock at 13. Here is Vandermas down the lane. Kind of a wild shot and taken out of there nicely by the little guy, Brian Foltis.
Great help side defense caused that, Tom.
Foltis is a great shooter, as he demonstrates, as Calvin moves on top for the first time at 15-14.
A multiple All-State award winner this guy is, and he shows you right away, sticking a dagger from long range.
A great play by Foltis there. He got beat coming around the pick, but he slid down to pick up Don Overbeek for Hope and got in the way and knocked it out of bounds. We're getting some changes for both sides.
This is what we're talking about when we discuss the depth. Look at how this run for Calvin has started here. It's Veenstra and Foltis, not so much Winkle. It's the younger guys.
Yeah, well, actually, Winkle was out of the game and just came back on. Hope behind for the first time. Klingler thinking about it, forced it up. Not a great shot. Rebounded by Winkle. Calvin looking for numbers. Winkle may take it coast to coast. Holds up now and gets tripled. Leans inside and hits the shot, but the foul comes well before the attempt. The foul will go against Kyle Vanderwall. Calvin has stayed away from fouls here, just 2 against the visitors here in the first 7.5 minutes of this game. That is the 4th foul now against Hope College. Calvin has to hurry to get it in. That one is tipped out of bounds. Boy, just not any space down there at all. And, you know, you have people situated so close to the sideline. Some folks in wheelchairs over there and a lot of the students for Hope, making it a very difficult end to maneuver in. Really, if you're Calvin, I guess you'd like to get a tie out of this first half, and then you're moving toward your own fans in the second half.
The defense for Hope is swarming right now.
3-point attempt a little bit too hard by Burgess. And here comes Hope again. Klingler. Calvin playing man-to-man. Hope playing more of a matchup type zone, packing it in deeper. Calvin coming out to challenge a little bit more defensively. Klingler with Winkle. Zager trying to shake free, trying to give a workout to his man. Boy, Klingler set some good picks out there as well. He's got a man open. That ball was kicked by Aaron Winkle, and a good thing because Mark Bray had curled around a pick down there and it come free underneath. And Hope gotten the ball to him, Steve. It would have been an easy bucket.
It's Calvin 16, Hope 11.
Reset on the clock at the 12:09 mark. A couple of people moving into the ball game. Moss is back on. Zager checked out. Also going out of there right now is Don Overbeek, the freshman. Klingler, Bray, Vanderwall, Moss, and Carlson is back on as well for Hope.
Got some outside shooters here, Tom. That's where the strength of the offense is. You see if Hope tries to use that perimeter game a little bit.
Vanderwall from outside. That one spun out. Nice work by Moss inside. Didn't get the shot back, but fought off 2 Calvin players for the rebound. Beware the sick man. Moss has been a little bit injured, and he's playing very well here today. This is Fultis as they try to post up on Moss. Spinning, working, drop step to the school. Took his younger opponent, Kleinhexel, to school. Here's Winkle at the other end. And that one went right through the legs of the Calvin player. But out of bounds to Calvin. That was sort of a funny pass. Up in the air was Winkle. And he threw the ball right between the legs of his teammate. Luckily, though, for Calvin, they get it back. We'll take a break. 16-15 in favor of Hope College right now. More basketball after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
Leadership in insurance, in business, in Western Michigan. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance.
Dad, where did the barn go?
Nowhere. It's there.
Where?
In the fog. You just can't see it.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh. I promise you, son. The barn will always be there.
With the right plan, what you intend to leave to your family will actually go to your family. Have you heard from the El Gersma Agency? Northwestern Mutual Life.
And the tie will be broken again. This is second consecutive year that we have started out the season with a tie. The 2 teams divided their series last year, but generally that's not the case. When these teams get going, it seems like one team tends to be dominant. They go in spurts.
Yes, they sure do.
Last year was the exception. Hope was really dominant during the 80s. Calvin got the better of it in the early part of the 90s. And, of course, we mentioned back in the 70s, Calvin won 21 games consecutively. After the timeout, Carlson, the local player, misses. The ball tipped nicely. There's Moss again. Got his man up in the air, and Winkle sent it back. Calvin saves it. A beautiful play for Calvin by Brian Fultis. And now a nice tip away by Bray. He'll go down to the other end. and he got a little bit of a break there. Sometimes when you reach across like that and make the swipe, Steve, the officials aren't going to let you get away with it. But Bray pulled it off that time and got the easy bucket.
That's some good leadership out of the captain right there. Make a defensive play and get a basket.
And Fultis had a good look from about 12 feet and couldn't get it down. And now Hope will have a chance to build on its 2-point lead as we approach the midway point of the first half. It's 18-15, Hope on top. Calvin ranked in the top 10 in the NCAA Division III rankings. Hope needs to win this one today to avoid going to the 500 mark. Beautiful pass inside. Moss got the dish down on the deep blocks. He scores again to give his team the lead at 20-15.
Able to shake 3 off some picks. And Calvin slow and reacting underneath cost him a layup that time.
That's a second basket for Moss. Here's Veenstra down deep. Nice move inside. Nice showed the ball, took it back, and then had the easy score.
Well, he got himself a good position there. Found that opening, established himself, and went up with a strong move.
Veenstra has a total of 5 in the ball game. It's 20-17 now. Pretty good defensive pressure and a 5-second count. Nice work by Fultis on Bray. Bray thought he could shake the little guy, but Glenn Van Weeren doesn't want to see any of his players with the ball on the deck for 4 or 5 seconds at a time, I don't think.
No, great defense by Fultis that time. Very, very good. Kind of makes you think of Gottfriedson last year. Hope kind of thought they were free of that. Fultis comes in as a freshman, and he demonstrates some of that same ability. I'll tell you what, coaches love that. That ball hawking ability at the point guard spot. It makes the opposing point guard have to think about the defense and not offensive matchups.
I think Gottfriedson was probably a better defender. First shot of the ball game from the substitute who's on for Calvin. Jason DeKuyper missed it, got it back to Crochelle. Crochelle can't get it. And finally Hope comes out of there with a rebound. And we talked about Crochelle's problems here last year, and he's not done much in the early going today. Klingler with a little razzle-dazzle, but he got himself in trouble down deep. Boy, he is a bull in the china shop right now. Klingler getting some attempts deep in, but not able to put him down. And here comes Calvin with a chance perhaps to tie. Trailing by 3. Here's Veenstra working against Moss. Moss giving this guy a little bit of space. Karsten back on. Rochelle trying to set up against the much shorter Klingler and not able to get it done just yet. Now they're not going to worry about Rochelle on the perimeter that far out. Nice inside pass. Veenstra got bumped on the way through by Bray, I believe. Common foul prior to the shot. But it's the 5th team foul here with 8:34 remaining against Mark Bray. And it's the 2nd foul against Bray. So he becomes the first player really to have any sort of foul difficulty.
That was good patience, too, that time by Calvin to work it around. You see some of the poise out of a freshman point guard there, Ryan Fultis, and he really demonstrated some nice ability to run the team there, work that shot clock down, and not just go and take a shot for the sake of doing it. Wanted to work and get a good opportunity.
Kevin Van Timmeren's on for Hope for the first time as Bray sits down. Karsten has a lot of time to measure this one, and he sticks it. That's his 2nd 3 of the ball game. Actually, his first triple. And the game is tied at 20.
Well, Calvin shooting at 36% behind the arc. They're a very good three-point shooting team.
Well, Calvin has a big team inside, but they desperately need to make some threes to loosen it up inside in this one.
That's a good point, man.
Good defense by Fultis. Working against Zager. Here's Van Timmeren. Off glass, gets the kind bounce. Senior from Grand Rapids Christian playing with the knee brace out there today. Puts his team in the lead by 2. Kirsten hit his last shot. Here's Veenstra getting hand-checked a little bit by his defensive man. That's Tim Hogoin. From the outside, the 3 won't go. That's DeKuyper, who's certainly not shy about firing from the outside. Hasn't hit one yet, though. Chad Zager. From well outside, Van Timmeren can't find this one. Veenstra got hammered by Chad Zager. 16 foul now against Hope. And, you know, you look at Chad Zager, young guy who, it's not surprising he's a good guard. He's probably one of the few kids in this game who had a great guy to learn from in high school. His coach is Dan Hoff, a former Eastern Michigan player. We'll take a break and talk more about that right after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
Program support is made possible in part by Grand Oldsmobile. It matters not if you're a Flying Dutchman from Hope or a Calvin Knight. Both are welcome for either sales or service at Grand Oldsmobile, located on West 28th Street in Grandville. Deserve a company with the financial strength to be there when you need it most. Mass Mutual's Michigan Vanderveen Agency has served West Michigan since 1914. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, helps you keep your promises.
We're back at the Holland Civic Center. Tom Cleary along with Steve Lloyd-Jones and the rest of our Channel 35 broadcast crew. We're glad you're with us today on West Michigan Public Television. You know, talking before the break about Chad Zager, who probably got into a lot of one-on-one battles with his high school coach, Dan Hoff, who was a great high school player in Detroit in the 70s and starred collegiately at Eastern Michigan University. One very fine player, and I imagine that he toughened up Chad for this series by playing basketball against him during that young man's high school days down in Mattawan.
Certainly guard play has been one of the key elements in this series and what makes it so exciting. And no exception today. I'm sure we'll see some good stuff.
Foltis, the left-hander with the basketball now. He is working against Chad Zager. Well, Karsten got bumped pretty hard by Klingler. Tubergen, and they throw it away. Here's Zager on the run, cut off nicely by Foltis. Klingler ducking inside. Zager for three. Chad Zager with the triple, and that play really set up by Klingler, making the penetration.
It really was. The help side collapses on him. Nobody supports the perimeter, and Zager there to knock it down. Great ball movement.
Calvin skipping it across, but not quite with the same efficiency. They wanted foul there, but really I didn't see much of anything in that case. Foltis misses the shot, and Klingler with the rebound. Van Weeren up talking to the officials. Winkle, Podben, Burgess, and Crochelle set to check back in for Calvin, so nearly a wholesale change. Here's Veltman, cut off. Zager, Klingler. Feldman again nearly traveled. May have gotten away with one. Zager fires and hits from 8.
Well, the outside shots are going, no doubt, but it's the crisp ball movement, moving it around, that is able to free up people. Hope doing a great job of that.
7-point lead right now, and another knockaway and a turnover. Calvin's passing hasn't been very good, and somebody is hurt for Calvin. It's Tubergen who's down, getting back into the play, but he's banged his wrist. The triple goes. Zager makes it 30-20, and Calvin wants a timeout. Second timeout taken by Calvin, now trailing by 10. Well, suddenly a little spurt. It was tied at 20, and Hope now, Steve, going on a 10-0 run with a couple of triples in there. And Zager really being a force in this one today, off the bench.
Yeah, Zager has been the outside punch in this run here, Tom, but it's been the crispness of the passing game, I think, really, that Hope has used here. There is absolutely no hesitation. These guys know where they want to go defensively. They're feeding off that offensive momentum, and they are just flying all over the place.
Now, we talked about the size that Calvin has and the advantage that they may enjoy in that department, but it really has been a non-factor in this one so far. Rochelle has not yet scored. Winkle hit a triple early on, but has only 5. And Calvin in a bit of a jam right now. They skip it to Winkle. This is Burgess who's on with Podben. Veenstra. Rochelle down the lane it goes. Nice pass inside to Burgess, who hits the shot.
Boy, he is a super passer for a big guy. And he can either go over top of the defense. His court awareness is just magnificent for a post player.
He's certainly the most calm player out there right now for Calvin. He has a lot of composure and a lot of moxie this young guy brings to the table. Calvin has done a lot of chasing against Klingler, and it really hasn't paid off. Here's Veldman working down the lane. And Timmerin thought about it. Veldman again trying to set up down low. Klingler on the move with the clock at 7.
Van Timmeren got away with the run. No, he didn't get away with the run. He momentarily got away with the run, but then it was Walter Strong there to make the call. Wallace Whitfield and John Creek also here tooting the whistle this afternoon. Calvin with a chance to cut into Hope's 8-point lead at 30-22. This is Potvin working against Zager. Pair of 12s. Burgess trying to look for something down deep. Veenstra, first try from outside the arc, too hard. And there's a foul against Burgess, who was going after a rebound and kind of lunged into his opposite number, Craig Belden. Common foul, just the third foul against Calvin.
You know, Veenstra, for a big guy and a young player, a freshman in this game, he's got a nice touch from the outside. We talked earlier, Tom, about his form. He's got 44% shooting from the three-point line, so he can step out there and take that shot. Certainly an element that Calvin loves to have in their attack.
Well, Veenstra's going to sit down right now with 4:16 left here in the first half. Hope playing on the lead of 8 at 30-22. Moss has had a nice job on the glass so far. Klingler spinning inside, forces up a wild shot, and then almost runs Winkle over. They're not calling much down deep, and that's paid off for Ryan Klingler. He's a very physical player. Here's Winkle with the advantage. Drives, can't get it. Crochella put back, and then there's Klingler clearing space and grabbing down the rebound. Carlson, the freshman, back on. Well, Potvin could have had that one if he had committed to it. Runner in the lane by Zager goes, and a couple of guys hit the deck.
Now we get some players tangled up here, Tom. Certainly as part of the emotion of this game. That's what makes it so great. Nobody out of line. It's just too easy right there. Zagar with a nice jump shot, but he got into the lane way too easily. The defense has got to react to that.
They're going to take the TV timeout right now at the 3:35 mark. 32-22. Hope on top by 10. More basketball after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
July 22nd, 1925.
I'm 72.
I believe that makes me a senior citizen.
Sexy old broad.
I'm a senior. I like the finer things of life.
I have everything I want.
Well, you've got me. At Huntington, our personal bankers treat you like a unique individual.
I find meatballs very comforting.
Because you are.
It's going to be a long time before I sit down and crochet and knit.
10-point lead for the home side, 32-22 here with 3:35 left in the first half at the Holland Civic Center. Unofficially, Zager, the leading scorer. He has a couple of triples in this one with 3 other field goals for a total of 12. The difference is 10. Calvin with the basketball. Inside it goes, and the shot is up and in for Calvin by Derek Kleinhexel. Junior with his first basket. He was wide open there and almost forgot what to do with the basketball.
Nice job by Calvin to spread that out, look for the openings, and they found a nice, easy basket away.
Sign of good coaching when you come back after a timeout with a good set play that results in a basket. Give a boost to Kevin Vanderstreek. That was a travel that didn't get called. Kind of a high air dribble, and the guy who did it, Carlson, gets it back and misses the shot. Rebounded by Crochelle out to Winkle. Winkle looking to run. Cut off by the shorter man, Zager. He wants to take him down deep. Drew the foul on Zager. It's a good call. Zager was kind of riding him down through the lane. The shot was cleanly blocked, but good move by Winkle there, Steve. He sensed that he had a smaller guy on him, and he took it right to them.
Yeah, it's good leadership, and the best way to get yourself going offensively, I think, get to the line. If you're struggling outside, get yourself to the free throw line. Get some easy points that way, and Winkle is doing it. Here he hits the first, he'll have another one. All the fans see is the big block. They don't see the quick hands underneath that are able to scrape the arm, and that's what caused the foul.
Veenstra, after a very short rest, comes back in the ball game. And Kleinhexel, who scored last time down, will depart. Winkle with just 6 after that quick early start.
Right now, Hope shooting almost 50% right now, Tom. 13 of 27. They're also 4 of 8 from the three-point line. So outside, they're doing a good job. Calvin 10 of 24 from the field, 3 of 11 from the three-point line.
Calvin's cut it to a half-dozen-point deficit at 32-26. Well, it's going to be 8 points now. The big smash by Kyle Maas. He was holding free, waiting in the end zone for that home run ball, and it was delivered.
Again, keep your head up, look down the court, and you're going to get some easy baskets, and Hope did that very well that time.
I was thinking that Calvin was getting a lot of pressure on the possession. The reason why they had all 5 guys in the backcourt. From the outside, no from Burgess. And just when Calvin looked to be climbing back in this one, they are stalled. Nice takeaway, though. And a timeout taken by Crochelle. Kevin Vandestreek not at all happy about that. He took a 30. I don't really know what Crochelle can do there. He's on the wrong foot, facing in the wrong direction. He's either going to get tied up or he's going to turn it over. He calls a 30, which Vandestreek obviously didn't want to use. Let's see if he can make something of it right now.
Well, it's a difficult spot, as you talk about. He's over there in the corner where the baselines basically making 2 extra defenders. It's a 4-on-1, more or less. So, you know, unless he wants to basically commit a turnover, he has to call a timeout at that point.
Yeah, he got wrong-footed, really. He was facing in the wrong direction. He had lost his dribble, and he did what I would consider to be maybe the only sensible thing. And I'm sure that once Kevin takes a look at the tape, he'll say, well, maybe he probably could do anything. Vandestreek obviously wanted him to outlet the ball and get a break, but that was neither the time nor the place for Crochelle to make that kind of decision. Calvin obviously not taking care of the basketball real well here in the first half of this one. 2 minutes left for Calvin to make a little bit of a move. Crochelle on the baseline. Veenstra got a couple of guys up in the air, got bumped, threw up an air ball, and Maas throwing his elbows around, collects the rebound. Klingler going past his man, but has to kick it back out to Veldman for 3, and he's got it.
Nice job by Veldman that time. That subtle move of slipping up towards the top of the key. Got himself open and created room to get off that shot. Excellent job.
Now Calvin's on the verge of getting blown out here in the last 90 seconds of the first half. Crochelle fouled inside, contesting every shot is Hope. But Crochelle gets to the stripe with 1:20 remaining.
Well, that's a key play, as you talk about, Tom, contesting that shot. Crochelle really hasn't gotten going like he wants to in this first half. And Hope says, no way, no easy layups to get you rolling. We're going to make you earn it at the free throw line.
It's not surprising that Crochelle has not scored a lot of points here for Calvin in the first half, but I thought he'd be a little bit more active defensively. He's got great leaping ability, and he can be an effective shot blocker, but I'd say really the story for Hope in this one is the fact that Klingler has been able to break down Calvin defensively, and while he hasn't scored a lot, he's been able to open up Zager and Veldman, Bray, some of the others, to hit some shots out on the perimeter. 1 out of 2 for Crochelle. And now Hope will take a 30-second timeout with 76 seconds left here in the first half. Hope leading 37-27. Zager unofficially for Hope with 12, the scoring leader. Veldman with 7. 7 points for Winkle, 5 for Jeremy Veenstra for Calvin. Calvin, we've talked about the fact that they've scored in the 80s and 90s numerous times during the course of the season. Doesn't look like they're going to approach that mark here today. Certainly not on the basis of what they've done in the first 20 minutes. With just 27 points, they're well off their average scoring clip. And Hope playing a very comfortable game, just the way they like to play at home. Down through the years, not much standing between these two teams. We talked about the fact that both teams had won 71 times, and just a sliver of difference in the point scoring department, currently in favor of Hope. That one is subject to change, though, every time these two teams step out on the court against one another. So here's Hope now with the basketball with 1:15 left in the half. Playing on a lead of 10. Veldman guarded by Veenstra. Klingler. I think Glenn Van Weerens told his team we'll take this one all the way down to 5 or 6 before we launch a shot here. Clock at 15. Hope wants to milk the clock a little bit. Zager with a wild runner, but boy, he's got the touch going today. Zager with 14, great elevation for the little guy who hits the left-handed shot. 39-27. Here's Karsten. He got hammered by Klingler, and they're going to nail Klingler. Well, Klingler has really gotten away with a lot of contact in this ball game today. He's played aggressively, and that's his game. He's not going to draw in the horns at all until the officials tell him to do so. Klingler now with his second foul. Nate Karsten will shoot the bonus here. Karsten with 4. He had a triple for his only basket thus far. Chad Zager has not missed. He has 14 for Hope. And Karsten misses the free throw. Ball gets onto the deck. Let's see who gets there. Bunch of guys on the floor. Winkle was there along with Potvin. And I think Zager jumped in there. I think it's going to be the two little guys that they say went at it. And Calvin, I think, is going to get the basketball here with 40 seconds left in the half, trailing 39-28. Might not be a bad idea for Calvin here to run some clock and get one good possession out of this. They'd like to score a couple of times and get it down underneath 10. Critical stretch here for the Knights late in the first half. Potvin. Here's Winkle. Karsten wide open, and he drains another 3. 7 now for Nate Karsten, the senior. 39-31 Hope. And we'll see if the Dutch now play for one possession here. Zager has been the man with the basketball. Clock is off. We're at 15 seconds. Hope almost certainly wants to make this the last possession of the half, if at all possible. Zager running into some difficulty. Caught up nicely by Potvin. Zager hurrying with 5. Whoa, what a half he's had. Zager from the free throw line with 16. The heave won't go. And Hope leads at the intermission on the basis of a strong performance by Chad Zager. 16 unofficially. 41-31. Glenn Van Wieren kind of going nuts at half court. I don't really know why. His team's had it all their way. And Van Wieren, I can define our own Steve Lloyd Jones rather, as we go to the intermission. Unbelievably, Glenn Van Wieren has been called for a technical foul with his team up by 10. So Calvin will shoot free throws to start the second half. Now this could be interesting when the coach gets over to talk to Steve. Now he's coming over right now. Steve Lloyd Jones is down on the floor, standing by with Glenn Van Wieren. Let's get Steve over to the coach. Give them a chance to collect themselves. And let's go down to Steve on the floor right now with Glenn Van Wieren.
Thank you.
Coach, in that first half, tremendous emotion that your team showed. Great play as a result of that.
Our team is playing with like they should play in the Civic Center. We love playing here, and we're playing with the emotion we need in this game.
Zagar has been a real boost for you outside. Talk about his improvement here.
Chad, you know, we see this from Chad all the time. We're glad right now it's not practice and it's this game. So we're pleased what Chad's doing, but it's not a surprise.
Your rebounding has been excellent, especially on the offensive end. Is that something you really emphasize coming into this game?
But that's important for both teams, you know, and right now the ball's where we are and we're getting the ball, and that's great for us.
Coach Van Wieren, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
We're at half. Hope is up at the halftime score, and we'll be back with more after these messages.
Today's game on WGVU has been brought to you by Mass Mutual Vanderveen and Associates, Ameribank, West Michigan Office Interiors, Huntington Banks, Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance, Grand Oldsmobile, and Mercantile Bank Corporation.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Boltman, president of Hope College. From the very moment that I set foot on Hope's campus as a student 40 years ago, I knew that the college was very serious about academics. And while much has changed over the years, Hope has never wavered from offering a challenging liberal arts education which integrates faith and learning. This education truly develops the whole person, teaching students to think creatively, judge wisely, and communicate effectively. I'm especially proud of the natural sciences, which have received considerable national recognition. Today, we'd like to share with you a glimpse of that program.
It is a program that is the envy of institutions much larger and perhaps better known than Hope. A program that others try to emulate because of students' hands-on involvement. A program that has captured national attention and is the foundation of the national reputation for academic excellence that Hope enjoys. The natural sciences at Hope College have a rich legacy, one that blends cutting-edge research and teaching in an innovative way. It's all possible because faculty are more than just teachers. They are real-world scientists, and the students are among the best, attracted by the chance to do real science. In fact, Hope holds more grants for summer student research from the National Science Foundation than any other liberal arts college in the country. And nationwide, only 6 other institutions, all of which are universities, hold as many grants as Hope. Hope has also been recognized by the National Science Foundation with an award for the integration of research and education, only one of 10 liberal arts institutions to be recognized.
When they leave Hope, the first thing I want them to be are sort of good citizens, to know that they have a responsibility to others. I also want them to be good scientists. Now, they may not actually be scientists, but I want them to understand the scientific method, understand what science can do and what it can't do. So my job at Hope is to help them become the best of what they want to be.
Research at Hope is on the cutting edge. Rigorous lab courses that stress investigation and active one-on-one learning and collaboration. This collaboration brings faculty and students together on original research programs to examine, explore, and investigate.
I've been at Hope College now for 3 years, and one of the reasons I came here was the chance to do real original research with undergraduate students, experience that I had as an undergraduate myself. And what I found is that the environment here is even better than I had hoped for.
Working in a lab, you get to think on your own a lot, which is I think a very important part of college that a lot of people tend to miss.
Some of the things that I get from working with the research students are fresh perspectives on things. I sort of know a lot about science, and I have a sort of set way of thinking. Students come in and ask questions that I wouldn't have thought about, and often I can say, gee, that's a really good question. Let's investigate that. Another thing I really like is when we go to the scientific meetings and the students, they see them from a fresh perspective, and they get really excited about meeting some of the scientists that they've read their papers and things like that. And that's interesting to see, too.
There's a lot of collaboration, and I'd say a lot of it is the brainstorming, at least in our lab. The brainstorming has come from our mentor, and Dr. Gentile provides all the ideas, and then it's like we have the technical task of figuring out how we can find those results and make those things happen. And it's really helped to give us a better understanding of the science, not only in the lab, but also the social side of it. We've got to see that there is kind of a social network with the faculty and with people who are doing the science in real life.
Hope College is not content to rest upon its reputation, for there is more to do. More research, more learning, more exploring by Hope students. The living legacy of Hope College.
Our natural sciences program is just one reason why Hope College is consistently recognized as a distinguished liberal arts college. The entire college family is striving to make certain that Hope continues to be a place where the dreams of many become reality for many more.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
Leadership in insurance, in business, in Western Michigan. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance.
You deserve a company with the financial strength to be there when you need it most. Mass Mutual's Michigan Vanderveen Agency has served West Michigan since 1914. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, helps you keep your promises.
I am Calvin College. Through my learning, I seek to be
an agent of renewal in the academy, church, and society. I aim to develop
knowledge, understanding, and critical inquiry, encouraging insightful and creative participation
in society, and fostering thoughtful, passionate Christian commitments. I strive to embrace the best insights of Christian life and reflection, engaging issues in the intellectual
and public spheres, and enriching faith by the heritage of the past and discoveries
of today. I undertake my tasks in response to a divine calling.
I challenge myself to excellence as I acquire knowledge, cultivate aspirations,
and practice a life of service. In all I say and do, wherever I may be, I hope to follow
and further the ways of God on earth. I am Calvin College.
All right, we're back at the Holland Civic Center, where it's Hope 41, Calvin 31 here at the intermission. The story of this game so far, Chad Zager, the young man from Mattawan, 7 of 7 in the first half, a couple of triples, 16 points, really the difference in this ball game. He came off the bench to help his team forge that 10-point intermission lead. Field goal shooting all in favor of Hope right now, 53% to 41. Both teams have made some three-pointers. Hope has been a little bit more efficient. Free throws really not much of a factor. Calvin's missed a couple of tries. Rebounding, Moss and Klingler doing a great job for Hope College. The margin there in favor of Hope. But really the story of this game, Zager with 16, Veldman chipping in with 7, Winkle and Karsten each with 7. Hope has done a pretty good job against Veenstra, who's been held in check. We talked about the battle as it has been drawn down through the decades. The 90s was a flat-footed tie, 13 wins each, and obviously the winner here this afternoon will draw first blood in the new millennium with the first win of 2000. And right now, things are going mostly in favor of Hope, leading by 10, but Glenn Van Weeren picked up a technical at the end of the first period, and Calvin will shoot some free throws as we get set to start the second half here at the Holland Civic Center. Hope 41, Calvin 31. More coming up after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
Program support is made possible in part by Grand Oldsmobile. It matters not if you're a Flying Dutchman from Hope or a Calvin Knight. Both are welcome for either sales or service at Grand Oldsmobile, located on West 28th Street in Grandville. When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition. Office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
Hope College. It's a place that is timeless and yet dynamic, where students are challenged and at the same time nourished in many unexpected ways. One of grand traditions and great performances. A place to learn from a faculty whose teachings and accomplishments extend far beyond campus. Hope is a place of legends. Its greatest successes lie in the achievements of its alumni. It is a place of noble heritage and a bright, secure future. Mostly it's a place that, even though you leave it, it never leaves you. That's the spirit of hope.
Calvin down by 10. Kevin Vandestreek standing by right now is Steve Lloyd-Jones. Gentlemen.
41-31 the score here at half in favor of Hope. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Steve Lloyd-Jones along with Kevin Vandestreek, head coach of Calvin. Coach, here at half, down by 10, your offensive weapons really haven't taken shape yet. You got to be pretty happy at this point.
Well, I'm not very happy, no. I don't think it had much to do with the technical aspect. I think Hope did the dictating on both sides of the floor. In his zone, they kind of came out and put pressure, and we didn't attack. We kind of backed up on our heels, and we need to make that change.
Inside, it looked like Brian Kurschel is having somewhat of a slow start. Are you going to try to emphasize him a little more here in the second half?
Yeah, we definitely need to go inside, and it doesn't matter, again, what it is they're playing. We need to go in there, be a force, get it to the basket strong, and then go get the board.
How about offensively in transition? You're going to look to push. You guys are a high-scoring team. Do you want to try to put the pressure offensively on?
Yeah, absolutely, but we need to get the rebound first. You know, get a couple stops, get it out, up and down the floor.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Here at half, it's 41-31 in favor of Hope. Now back to Tom Cleary.
All right, thank you, Steve. Kevin Vandestreek maintaining his cool here after the first 20 minutes of play, even though he's not all that pleased with the way things have gone. On the other side, a little surprising, Glenn Van Weeren apparently, and I'm just speculating now, felt that Zager was fouled on the last possession of the first half when he hit that shot that gave his team the lead at 41-31. He had a very heated discussion with the referees at half court as the teams are leaving the floor. And he kind of backed off a little bit. I thought he might get a technical. Then he came back and said something else, and the officials did hit him with a technical. So Calvin will be shooting some free throws here. And it really, when you think about it, it's a great opportunity for Calvin to get back in this game. If Winkle or Veenstra can hit a couple of shots, and then Calvin will take possession, maybe score again. That's Calvin giving up the basket from the outside from Klingler, who hit an early three. Here's more work being done on the boards. Moss inside. The save by Calvin. And then the Knights working in transition. Good defensive series there. Klingler did this a lot. Got into the lane, kicked it out, and Zager was impeccable. 7 of 7, a couple of triples, 16 points. He played flawlessly. Down deep inside, the nice dish. Carlson dropping it off nicely to Kyle Moss, who had 6 points. Calvin just not getting it done at the offensive end. There you see the block by Moss on Aaron Winkle, and then the dunk off the transition basket for Kyle Moss as his team leads by 10 here as we get set to go. It was indeed Van Weeren who was nicked for the technical foul. And the announcement coming right now, you know the Hope fans aren't going to like this, but really it was a pretty obvious technical foul situation. Van Weeren was very heated as he went after the officials at half court. Rather uncharacteristically, I might add. But the officials, they gave him an opportunity to air his gripes, and then when he came back, they hit him with the tee. So I think it's going to be Winkle who will shoot the technical. If I'm not mistaken, it was to be Hope's basketball on the alternate possession. There was one held ball during the first half, which gave the ball to Calvin. Winkle misses the first free throw. But it was going to be possession to Hope. So there was a potential here for 4 or maybe 5 points for Calvin. Let's see what Winkle can make of it. He missed the first free throw. He rings home the second. So it's 41-32. Winkle with the first point of the second half. And now Calvin with the basketball after that rather bizarre sequence, Steve, at the end of the first 20 minutes. I'm surprised he didn't leave well enough alone there, leading by 10 at the end of the half. But he had his say. It cost him a point and the basketball. So here's Calvin Potvin. You heard Kevin Vandestreek tell Steve Lloyd-Jones his team was going to knock it inside no matter what. Let's see if they can do it. Veenstra double pivoted, finds a man wide open for the layup. Kroschel finally off the schneid. Looked to me like a little double pirouette in the corner there by Veenstra, but he did it so smoothly, he put everybody to sleep. Here's a block on the possession for Hope, and now Calvin suddenly trailing by 7 on the verge of climbing in. Kroschel scored once. He's confident. He's scoring. Kroschel with 5. It's 41-36, and don't tell me that technical didn't have a lot to do with what's happened so far here.
Yeah, look at the momentum. There's a definite switch at this point. We'll see how Hope responds.
Suddenly, Hope is back on its heels a little bit. Klingler, wild shot. It's an air ball. Calvin suddenly turning this one around. Here comes Winkle, and the Calvin fans are cheering. Winkle, oh, beautiful play by Klingler. Double teamed and then made a steal. Carlson, Gray, Moss working on Crochelle, pushed off. Oh, nice play by Crochelle. He's a different man here in the second half.
He really is. Somebody lit a fire under him here to start this half. Great player. You knew this was going to show at some point, and he's begun the second half in a great way for the Knights.
A little unlucky there. He didn't get the takeaway. He got that ball and slipped on some dampness underneath the basket, and the ball rolled right between his legs out of bounds to Hope.
You know, though, Tom, we really can't make enough of the importance that Moss has inside. He has been such a warrior for Hope at that position. He's done a great job.
Calvin outside Feldman with Veenstra. Nice help out by Crochelle, who jumped out. Oh, nice back pick. And the foul will go against Potvin inside. I think Crochelle was going to eat that shot from Bray, but it was a nice set play. Good back pick and nice bounce pass through, and Bray goes to the line to shoot two.
Yeah, catching defenders with your eyes totally on the ball. That's when those backdoor cuts arrive, and Hope taking advantage at that point.
That's the first point of the second half. It comes courtesy of the free throw from Bray. Bray has been quiet here, just one basket in the first half. We look for him to be a little bit more of a factor. Misses the second free throw. Veenstra a rebound. 42-36. Calvin trailing Hope by a half dozen. Calvin's off to a pretty good start here in the second half. Still a zone. Veenstra, nice touch. Crochelle has 6 points here in the second half.
Nice passing. The soft spot is in the middle of that zone. Calvin recognized that, and from there you have a lot of options.
Hope really needs to get its bearings right now. They played so hard in the first half, and there's a beautiful play. Klingler to Bray on the back cut again.
Bray seeing some good passing here or what? These guys very good at backdoor screens and finding openings. Super passing.
A lot of congestion. Winkle, nice move by the veteran. Ducked inside, kind of clutched it to his chest, and then released for the basket.
Here we go. This one's heating up. The Stars are coming to life on both teams.
Calvin on the move again. The takeaway by Veenstra. Look out from behind. That ball was kicked off of Veenstra's foot. Well, I don't know if that one. I think the referee saw it right there. John Creek had a good look. He thought it went off the foot of the player from Calvin, Veenstra, and I'm not so sure, but he made an emphatic call. He was looking right at it, and he had a good look at it.
You know, any call you make in this series is going to be emotional for either team.
Feldman outside, can't get it. Nice push off by Carlson, who was then bumped into by Potvin. Kind of a tough break for Potvin. He had good position. The long rebound came out over his head, and then he commits the foul. Potvin goes out, and it was Fultis who snuck in during the break. And Karsten is on right now as well. Nice tip away there, and Calvin with better defense in the lane.
Good hands by Winkle.
Karsten, Veenstra. Veenstra guarded by Carlson. I think Calvin likes that matchup. Crochelle puts it on the deck. Veenstra's home. Gets it. Veenstra with 7. We have a 2-point ball game, Steve.
Recognizing on a double team, somebody's open, and that somebody was Veenstra cutting to the basket. Great passing by Crochelle. Excellent fundamental basketball.
Calvin looks as though it may have installed an entirely new offense at the intermission. Terrific efficiency offensively. Here's Bray getting away in the lane. Missed the shot, but drew the foul, I think, against Aaron Winkle, who was trying to help out. One weakness that Calvin has had on the perimeter, these guys are standing straight up when they chase out on the perimeter, and they're easy prey for guys like Bray, who can put it on the deck with the dribble. That time the guilty party was Karsten.
Yeah, he is. He's very quick, and he's got a good enough shot outside, a very good outside shooter. You have to honor that, and because he has that threat, that will create some openings for him to drive, and he's doing a nice job of it.
Bray makes a couple of free throws this trip down. He has 7 now. In fact, he scored all the points here for his team in the second half. 46-42, Hope on top. Winkle on the baseline, doubled. Oh, nice play, leans inside, missed the shot, probably should have gone off glass there. Left it short. Here comes Hope again.
Hope has got to establish something inside. It's all perimeter right now.
Veenstra did a nice job cutting his man off. Carlson on the backside. Beautiful feed for Feldman.
Backdoor screens like that, Tom. High percentage shots.
That is the first basket for Carlson. Calvin wants to get a bucket here. Poultice for three. Yes. Ryan Poultice now with a half dozen. 48-45.
Good job in finding the open man. And Poultice with excellent confidence there to just let it fly, and he knew it was in.
Next dead ball will be a TV timeout. Kelvin has to be happy with the start here in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Veldman cut off. Here's Carlson. Veldman again. Nice tap away by Crochelle. Calvin has not been able to get the real good squeeze double team though. Here's Moss, and that time Crochelle got him. Common foul, so I think we're going to stay right here. Let's wait and see. It's against Crochelle. It will be indeed a TV timeout. 48-45, Hope leading Calvin. More basketball on Channel 35 coming up.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When it has to take the worst, Repcolite paint.
Leadership in insurance, in business, in Western Michigan. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
48-45, Hope leading Calvin right now, and rather surprisingly is the fact that we have not seen Zager here in the second half for Hope. The shooting starting to heat up a little bit for both sides. Calvin shooting the ball very well here in the half. Zager with 16 in the first half. Now Glenn Van Wieren probably has a rotation for substitution that he wants to stick with, but it hasn't worked out too well so far. And here's Calvin with a turnover as Karsten comes up with a loose ball. Zager was 7 of 7 in the first half, and he hasn't played in the first 5 minutes here of the second half. Ducking inside and getting the hoop for Calvin. That's Nate Karsten now with 9, and it's a one-point ball game.
Yeah, good move by him, split the double team like that. From Hope's side defensively, you can't allow that to happen. That's too easy.
Hope wants to take a timeout. Now that's a strange one. 40 seconds into the timeout.
Yeah.
We'll keep it right here for this one. Glenn Van Wieren suddenly realizing that things had gone badly askew for his team, which led by 10. Calvin has outscored Hope 16-8 here. 16-7 actually in the first 5 minutes and 20 seconds of the second half, Steve.
Well, I think that particular play right there, Tom, illustrated what Coach Van Wieren is upset about. The fact that you have the offensive player shut off there. You got a double team, and yet he's able to worm between you and get a layup. And I know that upset him at that point.
There's a little different strategy sometimes employed in basketball, where it used to be in the old days you try to funnel everybody to the middle. Actually, they influence now toward the baseline. They'll give somebody the baseline, especially a smaller player like Karsten, thinking that the guys will collapse and they'll get a pinch on him as he gets to the basket. But that time, Karsten, a right-handed dribbler, was being given the lane. He kind of crept up into it and then just took it the rest of the way and hit a relatively easy shot. So it's 48-47. And I don't think we can overstate, again, the importance of that technical foul that was called at the end of the first half against Glenn Van Wieren with his team up 10. Calvin hit a free throw, one of the two free throws, made a basket, and then almost completely turned this game around very quickly after that little exchange. I think the referees are waiting for the TV timeout to end. We neglected to tell them that we didn't go away. Sorry about that, guys. No harm, no foul. Oh, a knockdown. They're going to call a block on Karsten. Well, Karsten wasn't in very good position. Bray did get the elbow out on him. You could have really called just about anything there and been right to some degree.
It looked from our angle like it was a good call, but you're right. Maybe from a different angle, it would have been a different call. But yeah, the aggressive player that time, Bray was able to get the official to go his way because of that aggressiveness.
Yeah, bad positioning by the Calvin player. Now Burgess knocks it away from Bray. Bray, to his credit, he sort of apologized to Karsten after he stuck the elbow into him. 14:33 left in this one. Tom Cleary along with Steve Lloyd Jones at Holland at the Civic Center, and it's been a good one so far. 48-47 Hope. Defensively, Calvin trying to come alive. Shot clock at 20. Klingler trying to work the lane on Karsten. Veldman may have run with the ball, had it slapped away, and now a foul is going to go against Veldman as all sorts of guys hit the deck. Walter Strong made this call, and it's kind of a funny one. Veldman, reaching for the ball, actually slapped the head of Brian Crochelle after the ball had gone away.
What a nice job of help side defense that time. Crochelle with good feet. Mentioned his passing ability, but how about the ability to get over there in position and end up turning the tables on Hope?
Well, the mystery guest is about to check in for Hope, and some of the fans are probably saying, where you been? Chad Zager. 16 in the first half, never missed a shot, and he hasn't played for the first 6 minutes here of the second half. Crochelle got fouled by Veldman, and Veldman's not happy. He gets nicked at both ends of the court on consecutive possessions. Zager coming in. Let's see who's leaving. I suspect it'll be Veldman. Now it's going to be Bray who will go out. Also coming on right now is Tim Hogewin from Wyoming Park, a freshman. Going out of there is Veldman. That's probably a good idea. Fatigue sometimes sets in when you see a guy pick up a couple of quick ones like that, Steve.
Yeah, protect the foul as well as give some added height inside. Hogewin and Moss, good size.
Nice skip to Fultis from Veenstra. Nice block out by Moss.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
He eased Veenstra right out of the picture. And Hope trying to extend the lead. Winkle getting set to come back on. The long one from the outside. Carlson, no. I think this is going to be Veenstra, who bumped his man underneath. Never really contested it. Veenstra knew he got caught with his hands in the cookie jar, and the call made right there by John Creek. As Karsten goes out, Veenstra goes out. Into the game for Calvin is Klein Hexel, and also the senior Aaron Winkle returning. Well, Calvin made a bad play on the inbounds there. They weren't watching the inbound pass, and they just tossed it into Moss for an easy one. 50-47.
A skip pass.
Burgess ties it up.
He can do that, Tom. 50% from behind the three-point line this year. 15 of 30.
7 for Burgess. Hope's going to have to hurry to get it across, and they do. Zager working against Burgess. It's a nice matchup here. Zager gets by him, lost control momentarily. Klingler. Actually, they say 50-49 on the scoreboard. I may have misspoke. It's a 1-point lead for Hope. Well, we've got it on our monitor now. It's 50-49, and Calvin will get it back. Burgess and Zager getting a little talking to right now over there. And that's Wallace Whitfield. So we'll assume the score is right now. There's a little extracurriculars there. Spirited activity.
A little 1-3-1 zone, it looks like. Now it's going to be man-to-man still.
Now matching up a little bit, but still collapsing down there. Crochelle's got to get rid of it. He's in a lot of trouble. And here's Fultis. He can go from there. Oh, it jumped out on him, or he would have put Calvin in the lead.
Well, you know, Calvin, if the nights you're happy with those shots, you're getting what you want. They're just not falling.
Calvin gets that shot the rest of the afternoon. They're going to be very happy because Hope Fultis will hit it more often than not. Tubergen is on. Crochelle goes out, and the crowd is getting worked up here. Bray's going to come in, and Carlson, the freshman's going to go out, and now Karsten will re-enter for Calvin. And Burgess will take a seat.
As you might expect, with the score a lot closer than it was in that first half, Calvin has done a much better job from the outside. Their shooting percentage going way up.
Calvin doing a nice job of contesting shots in the lane, too. They've got some size. Good double team there by Moss and also Zager, but Foltis gets rid of it. Skipped it across. Winkle going all the way, and that's a block against Moss. Fans don't like that one sometimes, but I'll tell you, I think that that's a call that has really gone too much in favor of defensive players in the last number of years. Pretty clearly, the Calvin player to the spot quicker, and Moss stuck his hip in there, and you can't expect to get that one. Good hands this time by Tubergen. Lost it, got it back. Foltis from 24. Bingo!
Well, there it was. Top of the key he missed. This time, no hesitation again, and he puts Calvin up by 2.
Well, a substitute has done the job for both teams here. Zager for Hope, Foltis for Calvin. Foltis with a long rebound. Calvin on the lead at 2, by 2. Karsten. Boy, Hope still with a lot of great defensive pressure, and Tubergen's trying to find a fork to stab that thing with. Here's Foltis, left his feet, threw it away, trying for Winkle. Overbeek on for Hope. Veldman, a lot of guys need a little extra oxygen right now on both sides.
That's a good point, Tom. Starting to see that Kyle Moss coming off, definitely looking winded. Does the depth of Calvin start to show itself now? We're deep into the second half, almost 3/4 of the way through this game. Is the deeper team, which is Calvin on paper, does that show itself right now?
Here's Bray against Foltis. Nice tip away. Can Karsten get there? He does. He hangs on at half court. Beautiful play by Nate Karsten, the senior from Zeeland. They skip it across to Winkle. That almost hit about 3 guys in the head. Winkle with the triple.
He's defender right in his face.
Boy, an amazing pass that was threaded right through a bunch of arms, and Calvin unbelievably on top by 5 after trailing by 10 at the half. Hope really needs to get back to its game. Here's Overbeek forcing inside, no, and there's that guy Foltis again. Ahead it comes, and turned over by Calvin, and here's Zager on the run out. Zager spent too much time dribbling, and now Foltis on the move. Look out for the pull-up. Oh, nice change of pace to the hole. Didn't get it, and boy, they would have brought it down on this side of the court had Foltis been able to get that shot to drain through.
Well, Coach Vanderstreek at halftime said if we can get the rebound, we're definitely going to look to push. And you can see that with Foltis in the open court. He's quick, he's hard to defend. You don't know if he's going to pull up on a dime or if he's going to take it to the hole. And that time he went straight to the basket.
Well, one thing about this, Jim, too, is you don't have to push too far once you get it. A little bit shorter. It's one less dribble to get there as Foltis hits the free throw. I've got Foltis unofficially with 10, but his contribution really goes beyond that. He has been the key performer for Calvin here in the second half.
Well, Calvin with that lead moments ago at 52-50. That was their first lead since a lead of 15-14 early on in the game.
And this is a 17-point turnaround. 26-9 for Calvin in the second half to lead 57-50. Both sides up making noise right now. Foltis playing pretty well on Bray. A tip away. Who gets there? This is going to be Hope's basketball. Nice play by Bray. He gave the impression that he was going after that one, and he was just trying to make sure that nobody from Calvin would get there to save it in bounds. Kyle Vanderwall, who's a shooter, will come in. Overbeek goes out. Klingler is back in the ball game. And Zager goes out. Al Veenstra will sneak in. Kleinhexel will sit. Klingler pulls the trigger to Bray. 5-second line left. Here's Klingler. Tim Hogewin to the cutter. Vanderwall will not get the shot. And thank goodness for that mat down there underneath the basket.
Well, Hope is not cracking under this pressure, Tom, at all. They are certainly showing that they are very disciplined and great at execution here. You're seeing it. They're not hoisting up shots from the outside a lot. They're trying to work that backdoor cut and get those high percentage shots.
Vanderwall, who just re-entered the ball game, gets the free throw. That gives him 4 by my tally. Tubergen goes out. Karsten goes out. Crochelle and Winkle in. So a slightly bigger lineup now for Calvin. Burgess and Foltis in the backcourt. along with the frontline starters, Winkle, Veenstra, and Crochelle, and Vanderwall gets them both.
You get the sense right now Kevin Vanderstreek is trying to take a stranglehold grip on this game. Probably his best offensive lineup is on the floor right now.
Veenstra, head of the key. Looking inside, they skip it across. Winkle had the notion. Voltis doesn't need a lot of space. Beautiful pass, Crochelle to Veenstra, missed the shot.
Good defense.
And then bumped into Klingler, who stuck his backside out, trying to draw a foul.
Hope with great team defense here.
Veenstra got where he wanted to be, but I think he was about a foot farther underneath the basket than he expected when he came up for air. Klingler inside. Winkle bumped his man. And that was Bray who jumped back out and hit Aaron Winkle right in the chops. Kind of jumped back into him, and Winkle not too happy about that one. He might be checking the mowers and the bicuspids.
Interesting little scenario developing here now, Tom, in the foul situation. Calvin with 8 already in the half. Hope with 4. And so Hope will go to the foul line here for a while Calvin will have to work at it.
Exactly the opposite of what we saw in the first half when Kelvin got to the bonus pretty early on and had a slight edge in free throws. Another free throw for Bray, and he's got them both, so it's 4 straight now for Hope after trailing by 7, 57-54 Calvin. Calvin was down by 10 at halftime and came back to lead by 7 after a 26-9 run. Crochelle. Voltis for 3. Whoa!
Oh, deadly.
Man, this guy is as advertised. Not very imposing physically, but he is a player. 60-54. That was a run by Veldman, who got his feet tangled up when he curled around that pick to take the pass.
That was a key possession. And I know there's better almost 9 minutes left in this game. But Hope had been able to get that to within 1 possession as you see the turnovers right now through the first and second half. And Voltis made it a 2-possession game.
Voltis. Whoa, Nelly. He just pulled up off the dribble that time. And the crowd for Calvin going crazy to our right. 63-54. Talk about feeling it.
Calvin now 11 of 14, Tom, from the field in this second half.
Klingler putting his head down, forces, gets it, and the foul.
Hope really needed that.
Is that a huge play by Klingler? Tell you what, you wouldn't want to play this guy on the playground for your lunch money because he'd ride you right into the next county. Absent of referees, nobody would ever stop this guy.
Well, and Hope struggling from the outside. A little different from Calvin. They're 3 of 11 in the second half from the field. So they're going to have to earn some at the free throw line as they go here for a 1-on-1 opportunity.
Calvin took Voltis out of the game right now. I don't know why. He has been white hot, and there's a bad foul by Carlson on Veenstra after the rebound. That's the last guy you want to try to pick the pocket of because he's got big, strong hands. Carlson came around on the baseline. Even if he makes contact and knocks it away, he is himself, in a sense, out of bounds. And so there's it. There you see Carlson reaching in on Veenstra. 63-56 Calvin. What a second half comeback for the Knights. Potvin to Winkle. And now a foul away from the ball. I think it's going to be Bray. Oh, double foul. Double foul, Bray and Potvin.
A little excessive contact going on away from the basketball.
That's going to cost each guy. There, no shooting. It says Walter Strong. It was Walter Strong made the call. Wallace Whitfield coming over and explaining. But I think Hope now has gotten to 10. But on the double foul, no shooting. It is the 4th foul, however, against Mark Bray, who tried to get into the game. They tried to get him out of the game with Zager. Let's see if Calvin goes right at Bray right now. Well, he's not the wrong guy. Potvin, that's not the man that they want to go after him with. Crochelle doubled. Boy, Hope's still playing beautiful, aggressive matchup defense. Burgess, clock at 5. They're going to have to hurry to get one off. Burgess a fall away. Got it up on the rim, but Klingler is there to clean it up. Oh, and a double dribble of Klingler. I think he knew it. He tried to look casual, but they got him. 7:38 left in the ball game. Calvin 63, Hope 56. More basketball after this break.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
So where's our leader?
She'll be here. She's meeting with someone about her personal finances.
Wait a minute, the chief financial officer needs financial help. From whom?
I think it's her life insurance agent.
Really? So what's the agent's name?
Have you heard from the El Gersma Agency? The Quiet Company, Northwestern Mutual Life.
Hi. I'm Bill. B-I-L-L. Bill.
I'm Bill. This is Frankie.
Wow. And beautiful Bill.
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 I'm the dad, he's the son.
My mother named me Bill. Bill's a solid guy. I'm Bill! Reliable, dependable.
I hate sushi.
There are at least 5 Bills in our family.
I own a boat, and I'm saving for my daughter's education.
At Huntington, our personal bankers treat you like a unique individual. Because you are.
I hate having to go in the attic.
Now here's the man of the hour, Fultis. I think this is the second of the 2 threes that he hit, just off the dribble from way outside. And well, they got the Calvin folks excited, and Fultis himself was doing a little dance. He got a break, and he's still out of there, but we can rest assured that we will see him before it's over, Steve.
I don't think what was shown in that video does him justice. He had a really nice crossover dribble that got him free for that shot.
Rochelle got doubled. Veenstra. It's Burgess for 3. Too hard. Well, that's exactly the shot you want after the timeout, but Calvin couldn't put it down. And here's Hope trying to cut into a 7-point lead with just over 7 remaining. Zager has been held off the sheet here in the second half. Took a long time, didn't get in for the first 6 minutes, and he's had trouble finding the stroke since then. Veldman. Gray is on the sidelines with 4 fouls. Here's Klingler with Winkle. Down to 7:05. Shot clock now at 10 for Hope. Zager wants to go now. Oh, off the wrong foot. He got it up, and then a rebound to Crochelle.
Tough shot.
Had a pretty reasonable chance to make that one, even though it wasn't exactly what he was looking for. Here's Veenstra. They're showing him the baseline. If Winkle gets out of the way, Veenstra will take it. Winkle's trying to post up. He's in a difficult area. And finally, Calvin gets a break as that ball went right through the fingers of Zager. Now Veenstra is home free, and he scores.
Able to work his way out of that corner. I thought for sure he was going to get a 5-second call, but they didn't ring him up.
The problem there was Winkle took away any of his options. Boy, tough screen out there by Tim Hogewin on Winkle just now. And Winkle's head snapped back. 2 new guards getting set to come in. Veldman almost got caught wrong-footed again. He forces it, and it's blocked out of bounds by Veenstra.
That's an athletic play right there. That's a great move by Veldman.
Here's Brian Fultis, who's been fantastic. 17 unofficially for him. Hope wants to make some changes, and Van Weeren can't wait any longer with Bray. He's going to come back on, Steve, with 4 fouls with 6:11 left. Karsten and Fultis are back in there now for Calvin.
It's a good move. You got to bring your captain back in here. It's still within 9 points. So you got a shot here. You definitely have to get him in and hopefully turn the momentum to your side.
This will be a big psychological barrier if Calvin can get a stop here. Carlson fires for 3. Well, there's a push-off by Veldman, I believe, on Fultis. Or no, actually, they're going to say that one hit the support wire. No foul. That ball hit the wire that suspends the basket from the roof. A break for Calvin. And now the Knights 9 points up, 6 minutes away from the finish line. Veenstra with Klingler through the fingers of Winkle. Calvin, after trailing much of the ball game in the women's game at the Fieldhouse in Grand Rapids, has come back to defeat Hope 56-54. So if you're a fan of the women's teams, pretty hotly contested. Hope was on top most of the way. Calvin pulled it out at the end. Carlson was on the line, or just behind the line. Moss knocked it free to Klingler. Fans are yelling air ball. Didn't look like an air ball to me. I think they're yelling about Klingler throwing up an air ball earlier. Klingler behind his back. What are they going to call there? Foul on Fultis? Holtis reached in, and Klingler will go to the line to shoot one in the bonus with 5.5 left here. Hope just not getting the attempts that they had in the first half. 17 out of 32 in the first half. Only 4 made baskets for the Dutch here in the second 20 minutes. Calvin 12 out of 17, and thus one of the reasons for the big turnaround.
I think you have to attribute some of that to emotion, and certainly better effort defensively. Calvin really getting after Hope. It's not just Hope missing shots. Calvin is exerting the effort to do that.
2-shot foul. Klingler missed the first but made the second. He now has 8. 6 fouls this half for Hope. Calvin obviously over the limit. 65-57. Calvin leading by 8. Karsten and Foltis. Calvin will take a little bit of time, hoping to spread the floor. Karsten, Crochelle on the baseline, drew the foul. Somebody hit the deck for Hope. I'm not sure if it was Moss, I believe so, but Walter Strong said, Didn't get over there with the feet. And now Brian Crochelle, who is by no means the best free thrower on this team, will have a chance for a couple. Crochelle has not shot a free throw in this game, and I'm going to suggest that this first one might go up there a little hard. Just a hunch.
Off to the left. Yeah, it's time to back you up with some of the numbers thus far this year. About 47% from the free throw line is Crochelle.
And move over Shaquille O'Neal. That one looked better, and he made it. Attaboy. Crochelle with 8. He's had a big second half. Vanderwall comes in, and Carlson goes out to lead again 9. But time starting to slip through the hourglass a little bit here now for Hope.
Hope definitely going with some smaller guys against this bigger lineup for Calvin. Calvin will have the edge in height underneath. See what Hope does. They attack the perimeter again or try to go inside.
Calvin has outscored Hope 35-16 in the second half after trailing by 10. Nice pass inside. It's Bellman with a hoop over Veenstra.
Spread you out. Do some more back cuts. It's worked beautifully for them in the second half.
Been a while since Calvin's had a basket. Nearly a turnover in the corner. They skip it out to Winkle. Winkle going all the way. And they're going to call an offensive foul against Calvin. Winkle missed his man. Now we're going to see it right at the end when he runs into Klingler. I guarantee you Winkle on his best day cannot knock Klingler over, but he did initiate the contact.
That's a big call because Hope now down by 7. 4.5 minutes to go. They need every possession.
Here's Moss. Surprised that Calvin is chasing so much man-to-man with the lead right now. Would have thought they'd pack it in a little bit more.
That's a good point, especially with the backdoor cuts working so nicely.
Veltman's free on the baseline, and that's going to be a block. Whoa! Now, I'm not disputing it, but it looked like Winkle had plenty of time to get there. But he did not get that foot all the way across the end line there. And Winkle picks up another foul.
It's as if the Civic Center this afternoon took a collective breath, awaiting if it was going to be another call like the other end or if it was going to go against Calvin.
Now Veltman's a very good free thrower, and he has a chance to cut into this 7-point lead. More importantly, that's the 4th foul against Aaron Winkle. And Burgess will come in, and unless I miss my guess, Winkle's the guy who's probably going to go out of there. Which means that Calvin might not really have a go-to guy on the floor. This one's a long way from being over, folks. 66-60. Indeed, Winkle will get a breather for, well, perhaps 30, 45 seconds. And they both go down for Craig Veltman. From Jennison, 11 points in the ballgame unofficially, 5-point lead. Calvin needs a bucket in a big way. Foltis, that ball was kicked. Foltis goes down and gets it. Start all over again. Clock was not reset there because they didn't call it kicking. Here's Foltis. Wants to go all the way. Now it was knocked out of his hands, out of bounds.
How about the defense by Mark Gray, huh? Great hands up front, knocks the ball back. Shot clock winding down and slaps it away as Foltis goes to the rack.
Somebody's got to make a determination. They're going to shoot it here for Calvin. Might be this guy, Karsten. Veenstra spinning. Nice movement. Veenstra again. Soft shot, won't go, and a rebound by Moss.
That is great ball movement by Calvin, but even better rotation defensively. That is a clinic right there, Tom. Amazing defense. Hope, fantastic movement.
I think Calvin got the shot he was looking for. Veenstra just couldn't put it down. Velvet spinning, traveling. And with 3:28 remaining, we'll take a timeout. It's 66-61. Calvin leading by 5. More basketball after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When it has to take the worst, Repcolite paint.
Leadership in insurance, in business, in Western Michigan. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
3:28 left in this one. Tom Cleary along with Steve Lloyd-Jones and the rest of our Channel 35 broadcast crew. We're certainly glad you're with us on this fine Saturday afternoon in January, the first Calvin Hope game of 2000 as we move into the new millennium, and great way to start it off. It's been an outstanding ball game. Hope was superb in the first half. Calvin's come back to take a 5-point lead down the stretch, and the Knights have the basketball right now in the hands of Brian Fultis. He's been the star here in the second half. Winkle with Klingler. Down deep it goes. Beautiful feed inside. Burgess got free for the bucket.
Nice work offensively by Calvin. High percentage shot. They've been shooting very well in the second half.
Again, let's tip the hat to Kevin Vandestreek. He had a good play called after the timeout, and that basket was a long time coming for Calvin. They had gone through a little bit of a drought from the floor. Down inside, 3 minutes remaining. Bray with Burgess. Nice feed to Moss. Took some time. Forced it. Missed it. Bray had it. Lost it. That one was tipped out by Calvin, I believe.
Looked like it was.
Now they're going to call a jump ball, which I think would favor, in this case, Hope. That's a good net result for Hope. They're going to say both players touched it. Calvin actually started the half with the basketball.
I'll go back to something you said earlier.
Let me talk about this, Steve. I think they called this a double foul, which means the shot clock will not change or recycle. Hope gets the basketball, but there's only 9 seconds remaining. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm just going to say, it surprises me as well that Calvin's so aggressive defensively, up 7 with the free throw situation that Hope is in.
Well, when you're playing man-to-man down the stretch, you're going to allow your guys to get picked off, and Calvin got picked off there, and it was Veldman, I think, who scored. 68-63, coming up on 2.5 left in this one. Crochelle doubled. Burgess, Winkle getting bumped by the big man Klingler. He got doubled. They're going to tie him up, and the basketball will stay in Calvin's possession. But I think the clock recycles here, so that's not a real great break for Hope College.
Klingler with very quick hands in there.
They're going to ask.
You can see on the replay, good look at it, guys. It's Klingler with good hands in on Winkle, all ball. This from another angle. Now the ball will stay with Calvin here as they'll have it out of bounds.
They did not recycle the shot clock there. So still 19 seconds remaining. Terrible soft pass and great hands by Crochelle to gather it in. Karsten out there with Fultis, tipped away. Oh, Veenstra's open from 12. What a backbreaker that is. A loose ball right into the hands of Veenstra, who hits a huge shot for Calvin.
Now we come under 2 minutes to play. Hope down by 7, so it's a 3-possession game. That's what that basket does.
Well, you got to get one good shot at a time if you're Hope. You don't necessarily need a triple. Moss trying to work. They skip it to Carlson. Moss again down deep. The shot contested. Calvin's got it. Winkle got hog-tied by Carlson, but Calvin's got it, and now the Knights in control. 1:40 left. Calvin on top, 70-63. Shot clock at 23. Calvin's got time. The count beginning. Foltis is going to have to get rid of it, and does to Crochelle. Foltis bumped by his man. Whoa. Dangerously close to half court. Karsten. Clock at 10. Now Foltis looking to go on Bray. It's a matchup Calvin doesn't mind. Veenstra. Veenstra thinking. Gonna fire. Oh! Veenstra. The freshman. With two big buckets.
Tom, in the second half, it's been the freshmen. It's been Veenstra, and it's been Foltis up top. Those guys have been killing Hope.
Klingler tries a long-range three, got knocked down. Calvin will collect it. Oh, but Veenstra, did he step out of bounds? No, he got fouled. And Veenstra looks like a guy that barely has a pulse out there. He is so cool. And Calvin really enjoying it right now. What a terrific comeback in the second half for the Knights. Well, Veenstra against the pressure with the clock running down, turned and nailed it.
That's a big-time shot. Fade away with the game, not necessarily right on the line of a one-point game, but close enough to where that is a huge momentum boost.
Moss comes out. Burgess is in. Crochelle's going out, so good strategy here by Vandestreek. Wants to get some guards into the ball game for ball handling.
And better free throw shooting. As Crochelle, we pointed out, not the greatest at the line.
This is still 1-1 here for Calvin, so the first one looms large for Jeremy Veenstra, the freshman from Kalamazoo, and that one is as pure as the driven snow. 5 straight points for Veenstra down the stretch, 14 unofficially, and inside of a minute remaining in this one. It was a 10-point Hope lead at halftime. It's now a 10-point Calvin lead at 73-63. Make it 11. No room for mistakes here for Hope. They're going to have to hurry it up and fire it up. Take the first available shot. Bray going all the way. Oh, nice play by Burgess. I thought he may have gotten around there and stuck around the backside, got his hand on it, but he fouls Bray with 50 seconds remaining. Kevin Vandestreek, though, says, and perhaps rightly, hey, we just as soon give him the basket, keep the clock moving.
Exactly. He would have rather had the layup there and taken off some more time. Now Hope gets a chance to score, although the first free throw missed with the clock stopped.
Well, not only that, he makes the second free throw, and Hope has a chance to set up some full court pressure. Calvin leading by 11. All sorts of guys in or around the lane. Veenstra quickly inbounds to Karsten, to Foltis. Foltis is going to be death at the free throw line. Karsten's a pretty good shooter. Calvin breaks the press. Klingler got his hand on it. Winkle got bumped, and they're going to call a foul against Hope. Carlson was down there. Klingler and Winkle will go to the line. Winkle has not beaten Hope during his career here in Holland. This would be a sweet, sweet victory for him. He has not enjoyed his Saturdays in this building over the last 3 winters.
He's a solid free throw shooter, though, Tom. 75%. He strokes the first one. This guy can do a little bit of everything for you. His scoring has dropped about 3 points a game, but he's picked that up with assists. He's one of the top rebounders on the club at over 7 a game. He does a lot of things for you to help you win games.
This Calvin team reminds me a little bit about the clubs that they had a couple of years ago, with maybe about a decade ago, when Steve Hodder was a freshman and they had Bill Saul. Nice feed inside, Bellman, the basket, and the timeout. We'll take a break and come back for the last 33 after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
I'm a chief executive officer.
I'm the CEO.
Presidente.
Chief, the top dog.
I'm the big honcho.
C. E. Oh. Welcome to my kingdom.
I'm the queso grande.
I'm the big cheese.
Huge. I'm the big kahuna. I am the queen of hardware.
At Huntington, our business bankers treat you like you have unique goals.
I'm going after a new market.
Mrs. Fix-It.
Because you do.
I love the fact that everything lights up.
Just back to the action after that timeout. Calvin trying to run out the last 30 seconds. Karsten runs right into a double team, and this is going to give Hope the basketball. Karsten, well, he thought he got bombed from behind, and he said, what do you mean it didn't bomb me? At this point, it's not likely to make a difference, but who knows? 26 seconds remaining. Hope has to go quickly here. Bray running into the lane. Oh, my goodness. Veenstra says, I just backed off him. Bray hit the shot and threw the foul. Kevin Vanderstreek is saying, fellas, what is going on here? Calvin will call a 30-second timeout here. Well, I thought Calvin got a bit of a bad break here when Karsten ran into the double team, but in no way should have Veenstra been anywhere in the neighborhood. That might have been the first mistake that that young man has made today. 8 points still the deficit, but with a three-point shot, you never know.
I've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, Hope can cut it to 7 here, and then Calvin's going to have to get it inbounds and at least draw a foul.
If you're Calvin, the guy you're trying to get it to right now is Nate Karsten. Nate on the year, an unbelievable 45 of 49 from the stripe. So if I'm Calvin, I'm trying to work some play to get him the ball, get him fouled, and try to put this game totally out of reach.
I'm guessing that's upward of 90%, about 91% for him on the year.
About 92, if you want to get technical, yeah.
Well, Bray has to hit this free throw, and Hope has to set up in a press. So Calvin thought they had this one nailed down, but not yet. Bray misses the free throw. The tip, no. And a rebound to Winkle, and Winkle is fouled. And that, with 19 seconds, might just about do it, because that is the 10th foul of the half against Hope, and that means that Aaron Winkle will have a couple of opportunities here. This game turned around in such a strange way when you think about it, Steve. The technical against Glenn Van Weeren at the half when his team was racing off with a 10-point lead. Calvin comes out with 3 quick points, climbs right back in, and then really it was the inability of Hope College to get Zager back into the offense. 7 of 7 in the first half for 16 points. I'm not sure if he ever even got a shot in the second half.
He definitely didn't have the same kind of impact, that's for sure. Hope seemed to do all right with their back screens and some outside shooting, but Calvin just lit it up.
Bray for 3, won't get it. Knocked away from Klingler, and that's going to do it. Winkle ahead of the pack, 78-68. And the clock will run out on a Calvin victory. 78-68 the final. It's Calvin moving on in the MIAA race. Hope College not able to seal the deal after leading by 10. A tremendous turnaround for Calvin. Calvin coming up with a total of 47 second half points to just 27 for Hope. And the veteran Knights really coming to the forefront here in the end. Veenstra hit a couple of big shots. Winkle played well. Foltis gave his team a great lift in the second half. And Kevin Vanderstreek has finally gotten off the schneid against Hope College here in the Holland Civic Center. His record against Hope now going to 2-6. Steve Lloyd-Jones is going down on the floor right now, and he will be with Kevin Vanderstreek in just a couple of seconds. But Brian Foltis, the man who really spearheaded the attack, and Steve Lloyd-Jones is out there right now with Kevin Vanderstreek. And let's see if we can get down to those guys right now.
We have an orderly stream of traffic crossing, and cars can stop in one place.
Okay. And welcome back here. Final score today of 78-68. The final, Calvin gets it done. Down by 10 at half, Coach, 41-31. In the second half, you go inside, you establish that, and boy, the field goal percentage just shoots up.
Yeah, you know, it was a tale of two halves there. You know, Hope did all the dictating in the first half. They pushed us away from the basket. They got the board. They penetrated, knocked in the shot. Second half, just the opposite. Now, we don't have the individual penetrators, so we got to do it with a pass. Penetrate in there, get it inside, and then when you score it, they got a double, and we kick it, and that little freshman knocked it in a few times.
He sure did. Talk about the impact that 2 of your freshmen had, Foltis and Veenstra inside. These guys down the stretch were amazing.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, big, Foltis getting us over the hump, and then 2 huge baskets by Veenstra there down the stretch. But, yeah, they didn't play like freshmen today, no doubt about that. And we're definitely glad they're on our side for a long time.
Talk about, final question here, what it's like for you to win in this building, 1-6 against Hope coming into today's game. Tell us your feelings at this point.
Well, I just think it's glad to get a monkey off our back. I mean, they've had some great teams, and they have a really good team now. But for us to kind of get over the hump, and especially being down 10, shows great mental discipline on our part to kind of pull together, step up the second half, and, really play well, come out with a win.
Well, congratulations, Coach, on a big win, and good luck the rest of the year.
All right, thanks.
Head coach Kevin Vandestreek of Calvin, 78-68. The Knights win it here today at the Civic Center in Holland, Michigan. Now back to Tom Cleary.
Thank you, Steve, and congratulations to Coach Vandestreek for the win here this afternoon. Really did a fine job of coaching, I thought. Really his best moment in the series that he has had against Hope College. Brian Poultice and Aaron Winkle each with 17. Calvin winning it today, 78-68. We'll take a break and come back to wrap things up here from the Holland Civic Center right after this.